because I am pale.
Yeah,
But
you need a little more time out in the sun. I'm always out in the sun, so I got a good coat on.
well, you're Latina. You have that. I'm a crack Tina. I like. I'm a cracker, so I'm as white as it gets. But I used to hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go out and try to get some color, and then I ended up getting a couple things. Oh, sorry, I'm reading a text. I shouldn't be distracted with work. And then I got a couple of things. The skin cancer, I guess it was, removed, and I'm like, you know what?
Oh
I'll deal
yeah.
with being pale. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. White and pasty, whatever works,
Mm.
man. We need you nice and healthy. I'm all about the 100 SPF. That was actually the joke. One of the jokes when we went to Dominican Republic like 2 months ago.
Hmm.
Dan, my husband's like, "Why are you bringing 100 SPF?" I'm like, "Because we need to protect ourselves." Okay. So I had
We
to.
have children.
We have children to think about, and we ran out of sunscreen, and we had to end up asking our friends to bring some too because I was no joke lathering,
Well,
making
they don't
sure.
sell sunscreen in the DR.
Yeah, for like $25 per tube. Are you kidding
Really?
me? Yeah,
You
and
got
John and Amanda
American
were coming.
prices
Yeah, John and Amanda were coming the next day. I was like, hey, throw in an extra container of sunscreen for me. So
for $3.99.
$3.99. Are you out of your mind?
You're out of your mind. So today, Jen, I realized, and for everyone listening, that's
Mm,
Jennifer Konikoff, and I'm
yes.
Chris Cusimano with the Homes by Kuzi team in Southeast Florida. Send your business referrals. And
Yes, please.
this is the first time we've done a podcast without a third party.
Really?
Well, I think so.
It's
Am I missing?
possible. It's
I'm missing.
possible.
Well, let's explain where our boy Alex is. Alex went to San Diego, the whale's vagina, with his family um, over the
Which I
past.
I learned I learned that where that came from. For anybody who does not know where that came from, what is it? Anchorman, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. See, I was paying attention.
So I have a text with my mom and my two sisters, and a text chain, and I'm trying to pull it up right now because you have to read it. But anyways, somehow San Diego came up, and then my one sister and I, my older sister Julie and I, we're on the same page about everything. Oh, Kenna's on the
Mm-hmm.
text too, and then so we're just talking about whales, vagina, and San Diego, and the Germans and all that, and no one else is saying anything because my mom, my other sister, and Kenna, they're just they're in a
They
different
did.
world. They didn't
They did
get it.
not see Anchorman, my friend.
It wouldn't matter. So, so my other sister and I were just because we know each other well. We're just totally like trolling everyone else on it because we know they don't know what we're talking about. What was it? Here, I want to scroll through it and find it. Whatever. I don't want to bore everyone with it, but anyways, I thought it was ironic that that came up right after our last podcast when we mentioned it. And anyways, that's where Alex is now. I guess that's how that.
That's how it went. No, that's awesome. Alex is enjoying family time, which I'm so excited for him. He's worked really hard and needs a break off, time off, break off. So bad at saying, so I don't even know why I try.
I
Time
have
off?
something. I just realized something. So you
Mm.
said that this was the first time that your kids are gone. When do you pick them up?
So one gets dropped off, and the other one gets technically dropped off. But today I have to meet. I have to do a pickup. So 4 o'clock, 4:05, 4:10.
Why so late?
Well, I have a middle schooler now who gets out at 4. So by 4:05, I'm picking her up, and then my elementary schooler goes with his titi who works at the school. So she,
Oh,
yes,
okay. Because I remember you saying that you don't have your kids, so that's why one of the reasons why you're in your living room now, plus for internet. And then I'm
yes.
realizing, so Jen, just before I walked in here, like, so we don't have the kids are in school, but I straight up have three pissed off women in my house, and I got to tell you what happened. So and this is real estate related. So Kenna, my wife, if you guys ever met her, she does a lot of stuff for us. So one of the things that she does is she goes to our listings and does floor plans and virtual tours and stuff. Anyways, and she'll put a lockbox on the door when we need it. So this
Hmm.
particular, yesterday she was scheduled to go out to a listing of ours that was vacant to do those things, and the lock boxes that we use often are called Supras. If you're in the business, you know the electronic lock boxes. But if you're not in the business, what a Supra is electronic lock box that you can't get in without an app, and you can't get access to the app unless you put in your credentials as a realtor. So like your neighbors can't just guess a combo. It's and
Hmm.
when people and it registers everyone who comes in and out. Super secure. Anyways, my wife isn't a realtor and she doesn't act as one, full disclaimer there, but she is paid as an employee to help with things. So I have to give her an open Supra to put on the listings. Well, anyway, she picks up my daughter from school, and and I had the Supra open, and anyways, this was yesterday. So Ken and my wife drives to this listing. It's about 30 minutes away, and she calls me. She's like, "Why is the Supra closed?" I'm like, "I don't know." Right?
Oh, no. I see where this is going.
Yeah. So anyways, we find out today that the only person who could have closed it was one of her daughters because she was sitting in the front seat. So we asked her, and she goes, "Yeah, I closed it." And then the further story got into it was she had her friends in the car, and her mom, my wife, told her not to close it, and she told her friends, she's like, "I'm gonna close it now," and it's so satisfying.
Oh no.
So we find out after from the other kids saying what happened. Oh, so she's upset because my wife has to go back, of course, to the house and do it. It messes everything up what we're doing. It's a big deal. It's an hour there back plus everything else was scheduled. Anyways, so I made Addison pay us $15 for gas money to go there back, and she lost her mind.
Like, well, she'll never do that shit again.
Lost her mind. I'm like, by the way, you should probably pay us for labor too. And anyway, so I came out. So I went there, took care of that, came out here. I downed a mini fun-sized pack of Skittles, which makes my face more glossier than it has to be. And now here we're here.
And here we are. And you have some pissed off women in your house.
I know. I can't wait for this to be over. And
I mean, a solid parent move, though. I'm going to commend you there on the parenting move because, hey, she's never going to do that again. She might be pissed at you right now, but she definitely learned her lesson.
I'm $15 richer.
And you're $15 richer.
She was upset, and I go like this because the thing that made me mad was that she knew she wasn't supposed to do it, and then she said, "This is so satisfying," and did it.
Yeah.
Challenging my wife. So when she gave me the $15, she was all upset. I'm like, when you know something, this is so satisfying. And then I walked away.
Well, now that was a little much. That was a little extra. Are you a middle child too, Chris?
I'm the baby. I'm the baby.
Apparently, it was National Middle Child Day the other day, and we tend to be extra.
So you're the middle child. You're not extra.
Oh, all day. You have no idea.
I guess not. Yeah, I didn't know. So when we first started working together, I never heard you curse, and then all of a sudden you went off the last 6 months. You're just off the rails cursing.
I typically curse a lot. I try to filter myself and then the way I filter myself is by saying like sugar plum or god darn nuggets, and that's just the stuff I had to say when I was in the classroom, because I had to filter myself.
Fudge pops. That's true because you were a teacher.
Yeah.
And you had to. I forgot about that. That's
so
an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. So I've always just had a potty mouth outside of my professional space, but how do you cover that up when you're in a setting with children everywhere? Of course, you have to clean up your how you speak.
Hey, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at my photo here. Oh no, we're good. Oh, never mind. Okay. On the side panel, if you click on your face, I'm talking about the streaming panel, guys, but that only Jen can see. It takes pictures of you in certain, like look at the camera, take a picture and touch it.
I don't even know. I don't want
to. Right now, you have your.
I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to touch anything. They don't know the struggle that I had just to set up in this living room.
If they heard the last episode, they heard the struggle. But we got you going.
Yeah,
you look at, so what she did was she was in her office where she's just running straight through the air Wi-Fi, and her connection was been pretty bad. And then she moved into her living room now, plugged in, and honestly, you look clear. You sound clear. It's not shaky and choppy. You got to do this every week.
Fabulous. Well, no, now I'm just going next level. Okay, we're going some mesh core, some mesh thingies, and some mush thing. I think I just like saying mesh. So Stevie's gonna set me up with this next level thing, and I'll be back in the office. But I do like the change of scenery. It's a beautiful day outside, and I'm not outside.
Yeah, I said when the kids go back to school, I was going to be in the office more, and it just haven't happened. But I do like changing the scenery. I should, but it's just like people ask me all the time. That's a good thing. Why do you not drive to the office? Why don't you work out of the office? Because you understand, it's like it's like 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. And then when you're walking to the office, hey. And then you don't know where everything is, getting things set up. And then by the time you start, someone walks in the office, hey. And you can't get anything done inside the office. You just can't.
100%. So like we go in the office on Fridays, and I love it because it's a great time to like collaborate and really bounce ideas off with more than one person. And things just naturally start going. But I am less productive in the office because chatty Kathy over here. Somebody says a word and then it just completely creates a string of conversations. So I get that, and we're all about productivity and how to best use our time. So going into the office is tough.
It is tough. So what she's talking about, so here at a HomeSpot Koozie team and also in our coaching program, you can't see unless you're on YouTube. We have our journal, our monthly journal.
Wait a minute. Say what?
Do you have yours? What? Look at you. And in here has our daily schedule. Here's mine. Well, that's not mine for today. I had folded over. There it is. I got to get to it. There it is. So it's all filled out, and I go through it, and we have our daily task list. And the thing is, when you go in the office, I never hit my schedule up. It never finishes. So
never, ever. And every hour is allotted for, as crazy as that may sound for some people, every hour is allotted for, and it's just tough to let go of that 30-minute drive. To and from, and then having that engage as much as, and I love to talk to people, but when I have it in my head that, okay, I have to get my task list done today, then I feel slightly guilty where I'm like, okay, all right, we'll talk. Okay, bye.
Yeah. You know what? And that's also another problem when I go into the office and it's more of a social thing and people are coming in. I'm my high D personality, maybe you're similar. I want to really just focus on the task that I'm doing. And I struggle getting interrupted. Even at home when I'm here, I struggle with people coming and interrupting my task. My wife hates it. She's like, you're so linear. I'm like, because like, I don't know why. And I feel guilty because I know the high I part of me goes, I don't want to be mean to them, but I really got to get this done. And I can't get it done if they keep yapping. So it's like this weird balance, that you go through with productivity and pleasing people when you have a high ID personality like you have, I have, and Alex has actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting thing. So we don't have a lot of time today because you got to go, I got to go. But man, I took 7 listings in the last 7 days, and I have after I do this, I have to do another listing presentation video after this. And for you guys listening, it's great. For you guys listening, we don't do our listing presentations in person. That's like a secondary thing. We do them all video recorded, and I guess we could talk about that. Yeah. So. I'll set the stage because I think that'd be helpful for some real estate agents. This is where we can provide value. So during COVID, we couldn't actually. I started doing this before COVID, but it ramped up during COVID that we couldn't really do appointments, right? So I used to the technology exists where I can just record a listing presentation. I can edit it and take out anything I need to take out and add whatever I need to add. And then I could send the listing presentation via a video to clients. And they loved it. And then after COVID, I'm like, why would I stop doing that? So if you're wondering, it's the real listing presentation done for that individual property and their individual situations based on their personality type, recorded where you see me sitting now. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're not watching, I'm at my little office space in my house I created. And it goes out, and people always go, well, how do you arrange that? How do you make it work? Basically like this. So the people who called me today wanted me to come over to see the house. Very common. I said, absolutely. I'd love to see the house, but let me run something by you. Are you tech people? Are you techie in any way? Yeah, I guess so. Like, what do you mean? Well, if I send you a link, can you press it and watch a video? And they're like, yeah.
It's all about simplifying it, right?
That's it.
That's it.
Well, you raise the bar, and then you're like, oh, that's like a thing. Anyways, yeah, I can do that. I'm like, okay, this is what I started doing during COVID, and I explained what I just explained. And then what happens is I'll do this, and that way when I meet you tomorrow, you know exactly how I work. I know exactly everything I need to know about your house. That way you and we can just break bread tomorrow, or Or maybe you don't like the things that I say, and then we can save the time for each other, where you can go find someone else, and I can go work and I can go work my current clients. They're like, yeah, that's
It,
great.
it's utter game changer. It really
Game
is.
changer.
It is because this method has been passed on.
Passed on.
It has been passed. Your wisdom has been passed on. I do the same exact thing, and it really is almost like a light bulb for sellers when they receive their link and they go through it. There's always that, oh my god, this is
Oh yeah.
amazing. The text messages that we get is just beautiful to see when they're saying, wow, this is amazing. I don't even want to continue looking for another agent. I absolutely want to work with you because you already know my house. I already know what to expect. There's a lot of front loading with the presentation, which saves time, and it really just gets you off the platform ready to roll.
Well, it also shows them right off the bat how different and unique and untraditional you are. And that just sets the stage that you are this unique person who offering this unique product that they want. Because you think about, what do sellers want? They want someone who communicates effectively and efficiently, who can leverage today's technology to help them sell their house, who can market efficiently, and who solves problems essentially, right? And providing something like that really does wow them. Where my favorite text I ever got was from my friend Raquel. She's not the Raquel that's on our team, our client Raquel, and she goes,
Raquel's a riot too.
She's a riot.
I enjoy her energy.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna type it in and see if I can pull it up, because I was gonna because I know one of the keywords that were in there. And oh, I got it. Okay. It says, hold on, I gotta find it.
I can't wait.
She goes, dude, you're seriously sick with it, capital sick. Like, what the F is this? You're freaking Rain Man. I said, LOL, stop it. Did you get all the information you needed? She goes, this is ridiculous. So informative, so fast paced, but understandable at the same time. Literally, you're everything we are looking for. And I was like,
boom.
Okay. And then she goes, so what's the next step? So that happened there. And in the listing that I'll give you another example that was very similar to, someone called me, was a referral of mine, but she was interviewing multiple agents. And I go like that. I was very clear with her. Same thing I just mentioned before. And I said, hey, listen, I would interview a lot of agents too. It's smart. But I tell you what, you can interview one less agent. She goes, who? I'm like, me. She goes, what do you mean? You don't want the job? I'm like, I didn't. You want the job? I'm like, no. What I'm saying is, and I told her what I do. And if you don't like what you see, you don't have to worry about me coming over.
Exactly.
She goes, that's brilliant. I'm like, I know. And wait till I start working with you. And then she goes, she started laughing. And then I sent the link. And she texts back. She goes, something, whatever. But she goes, I'm not interviewing anyone else. When can we go?
There
you know? And so people always ask me, like, you know, you don't really go to their house? I'm like, no, we do. But we set the stage before. And oftentimes before we go to the house, they tell us they don't even have to come to the house.
Exactly. And you set the stage. You really do. To, like you said, wow them. And visually, actually, what's really great about the presentation, besides showing them how you work, what your personality type is, your accomplishments, how you do business, but you really get to give them a visual. Where sometimes when we're walking their property, we don't get to show them all the things that we do behind the scenes that in our presentation we can, which is great too.
Well, because they're distracted. They might have kids. They might have their schedule. They might, maybe they just came back from happy hour or whatever. You know, they're distracted. And what we say in the video part of the presentation is, hey, one of the reasons I send this to you is so if you do get distracted and pull away, you can just come back in.
Yeah.
Pause it, come back. You don't have to clean your house. You can do this on the toilet. You can play this while you're in the shower. You can do it anywhere. And if you want to share, I recommend you doing this too, Mr. and Mr. Seller. Send this to your friends and family. Do you have a realtor in another state? Send it to them too and have them review it. And that way, you know, I encourage you to do that.
That's a win-win for the seller because they're getting their second opinion, right? And it's a win-win for us as professionals because now another group of people are seeing how unique we are, what kind of product and services we're providing. So it's a win for them. They're getting those second pair of eyes. It's a win for us because it's another set of people that are like, wow, damn, these people got it going on.
That's a good point. You think you're a marketer. You're always thinking like a marketer. It's also that's a very very solid point. I had another point I wanted to bring up on that that I forgot. Oh, the other point, the other great thing about doing that is, and we mentioned it, it's in our video training. If you want to know how I do it, it's in a training, by the way. You just go to coachingbykuzi.com. There's my plug, coachingbykuzi.com, and inside the training, I show you step by step how to do this in the first phase of the training. But anyways, what we say to them is that this also holds us accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you have someone where they came to the house and they promised you the world, but you don't have it recorded, it's a he said, she said. But now you have what I said here. You have this link forever. So if I say I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and I don't do this, 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 and this, you can shove it in my face and be like, you said you were going to do this, this, and this, and this. And they love that. It's providing a value, credibility, and it just increases how they perceive the integrity of you.
Well, the trust too. The trust. Sorry, yeah, because like you said, you're giving them that sense of safety, right? Wow, this person truly believes in their value and their work. That they're putting it out there, not just. Oh, can you hear that? Did you hear that?
No.
Oh, thank God! It was like a thing
in
my ear. But it goes to show the value of your work and how much you believe in it. It's another form of a guarantee.
Yeah,
which we're huge on.
We're huge on guarantees, absolutely. Which is actually that's a pretty. I want to talk about the times that this video didn't work, because it doesn't always, and then we'll talk about guarantees, products, and stuff, because I think that's a good segue, and that's a really good thing to end our short version of the podcast on. But what was I going to say? Oh, so there was 2 times where the listing presentation didn't work. The first time was a elderly couple in Lighthouse Point, and this is when I learned to maybe read the room before doing it. I sent it and they loved it, and they invited me to see the house. And then so they go, what do you do in addition to everything, that you said? And I'm like, well, if you thought that was great, wait till you see all the really cool things that we offer you. And it was too much for them, because I got all excited.
It was overwhelming for their personality types.
And they exactly what they said after. And I read that I read it wrong. And then I should have stopped right there. I should have said, hey, is this too much? Is this a little too heady? I get it. It's a lot. Right. And I should have asked questions, but I didn't. I was so excited because this is one of the first times I started doing it, like post-COVID. Anyways, so I learned a lesson learned. And they later on, they called me and like, Chris, you're very impressive. Never seen anything like what you do, but it's just too much. And I was like,
I mean, you're right. At least you were able to go back and really self-reflect, because that's a part of the game, right? That's a part of that whole, we talked about it last week. Success is boring. Consistency, getting out there. You're going to fail some, but you know what? I bet you know how to read that damn room.
Yeah, well, you learn. I remember my response too. I'm like, well, if you want, I can do less than the guy you're going to hire. They thought that was funny, but at that point it was already the bed was already made. It was like, but I just kind of threw that out there.
They already said no. What's one more?
Yeah, they already said no. What's the worst? But they actually thought it was funny, and it was a good conversation. I learned. The other time that it didn't work out was actually a buddy of mine, and I'm kind of frustrated by this, because he has a certain business that I would set him a lot of business for, and what he does. And anyways, when he went to go buy his house a couple years ago, we started talking, and then he ghosted me and he bought it with someone else. Whatever, it happens. They don't owe me anything, right? I get it. And whatever, I keep in touch and, just be a professional. And then he wanted to sell. And then I said, great, before I come over, I'm going to send you. He's like, oh, that'd be cool. And then nothing back. Just didn't reply back. Anyways, he got one of my automated house value tools. It's called HomeBot. And it said a value on the house. And he wrote back, sold, like that. Just one word in an email. And I was like, dude, is he like angry? Like, what's going on here? So I'm like, oh, I figured that's what happened. You didn't call me back. And he wrote back, yeah, I think because you thought because we were friends, you could only send me a video and that was good enough.
Oh.
And I wrote it back. I'm like, that just shows me you didn't even watch the introduction of the video. Right. Yeah. And I'm like, either way, this isn't about me. This is about your celebration with your family. I always say that when people, get testy with me, which doesn't happen often, handful of times in my career. We're going to get testy. The script is realtors. It's not an argument or a fight. You don't have to justify it. It doesn't matter because it's not about you. It's about them and their celebration of life and what they're moving on to do. And you just got to remind them, hey,
it's their next chapter. You're here as a resource. You're here to guide them through the process and be their best realtor as possible, or friend. Sometimes that's where your role is in that. But yes, remove the emotion and just be that supportive person.
Yeah, you always got to just take the high road. But those are only 2 times it didn't work out. It didn't work out. But you made you actually made 2 segues, and we're gonna start with earlier.
Because I'm awesome. Go ahead, tell me.
Yeah, you're great. But I'm just gonna dive into one is because you were talking about the guarantees that we offer. And if you're watching this or listening to this in August of 2024, this is a really great time to get your free trial and dive into what we're doing, because we are at the very beginning of creating our very unique listing products, services, guarantees, and bonuses. And then after that, we're diving into the listing presentation, just like we mentioned here. So really great combo, actually, that blends perfect. So what Jen was saying about guarantees, and it's really hard to really, we could talk about it in the podcast. So what real estate agents have done, and I'm guilty of this earlier on in my career, is we don't really know how to convey what we really offer to our clients well. Like in our minds, we know we're a solid, great service. Oh, my phone's ringing. We know that we offer great service and experience, and we have all these things, but it's really hard to tangibly put that into play. And what I decided to do, because I struggle with it, because the biggest struggle for me was justifying the commission. I knew that I was able to provide more value and net more at the closing table, in my opinion, than my colleagues, because I just felt that way based on my experience. But how do you convey that? You convey that by now visibly and tangibly showing them what you offer them based on the needs and pain points that exist within selling a property.
Those are 2 great pieces, Chris. Pains and needs, right? Points of pain. That's how problem solving, that's where it starts. You got to identify the points of pain for our clients.
Well, yeah, that's any business, right? People are going to give you cash, whether you're selling a product or service, in exchange for a solution to a problem for the product and service. And that a problem is a pain point. So on a very simple level, I needed this little pen marker thing to write. I saw it at the store. I gave someone money in exchange for this pen. They solved a pain point. I needed it. Pain point doesn't mean like, ow, you stabbed me. Pain point means there's something in the way of stopping you from doing what you need to get done.
Yep.
And then in a business person is the solution in the middle. So I don't know what took me so long in my career to realize that correlation. And then that aha moment, whatever it was like, oh, let's find out what all of their pain points are, what all of their stresses are. And let's find us multiple clever solutions for each one of those things and provide that to them. And then when I looked around to other realtors, no one's doing this. I have no competition.
You're like, I'm here it's here. Let's do it. I mean, something as simple as, and I'm just looking at just thinking of our menu, right? By just simply providing packages and menu options, options is simply put a great way to address some of the obstacles that sellers have in their minds. Cleaning, right? Something so simple, providing that service, taking that little piece of worry away. Oh, I have to pack. I don't have time to do XYZ before photos. It's all about creating a service that really resonates for them and helps them along the way, because that's what we're here for.
Amen. And you said something very smart just there, and I don't know if you caught it. Maybe you did. You said they didn't have time to do things. And what people miss in our field is what they'll do is, if they're willing to provide maybe a credit for cleaning, which not many realtors do, and we do here in our team, or repairs, it's not necessarily the cleaning per se. It is not getting a cleaning person there. It's even the time to organize and find one.
Yes.
So when you can add more value to your clients is saying, hey, we offer a cleaning service. You could take it anytime in this transaction, and this we want. You can do a pre-listing, you can do a pre-showings, you can do a pre-open house, you can do a pre-closing, whatever you want. We will pay for top-notch cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool part about it is that we will find your cleaner.
Yeah.
We will pay your cleaner, and we will schedule your cleaner. All you have to do is give us some days that are available, and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And that time you took away from them, you gave them back, I should say, is more valuable for a lot of people than the money. And that's where these discount brokers really mess up.
Yeah,
is
it's
where
the value. Sorry, Chris, but it goes beyond the dollar value, right? You gave them time back. Time is of the essence during a contract. If you got 30 days to close, well, you have your life to move in 30 days. Like, I'm over here just sweating about it, thinking, if I had to move my entire house in 30 days, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what? Homes Like Koozie team will help you coordinate that mover if you need.
Yeah, no, we sure will. We take care of a lot of that stuff. And I think that's what's missed when people were instantly go, what's your commission? And you're like, you're missing the point. What is your experience going to be, and what are you going to net at the bottom line? And how excited are you going to be at the end of this process? Or do you want to just save $1 and just want to jump off the rafters head first?
That's not the kind of experience that I want to be aligned with my services. I don't want my clients to say, I cried 90% of the time that I was under contract or while I was waiting to get under contract. That is not the case. One of my sellers texted me the other day. She's like, Jen, you are magical. Whatever powers you have,
fantastic.
Thank you so much. And I was like, oh, I got you, but it meant so much to her that I went out of my way. I showed up on a Saturday, did XYZ, boom, done. And she is as happy as could be. Her house went under contract in
that's why you're with us. You just get it. It's how you make people feel. Mm-hmm. Is what they're always going to remember. They're not going to remember the transaction. They're not going to remember the bumps in the road, the specifics of it. They're going to remember how they felt. And if they feel kind of icky to end the process with you, they're never going to tell you about anyone else. And if we're going to be clear about it, in real estate transactions, there are things that occur that are just sometimes out of our control.
Yes.
And that is going to create an unpleasant experience at times. But it's how you show up and how you own it that matters. And not all sellers are going to get it and appreciate it, but most of them will. So that came to mind because I have a particular listing that has been quite a challenge to sell for a number of factors, and they were uncontrollables. I'm talking about, we found polyurethane pipes after the fact. One of the buyers lost his job after he had a contract, so we had to put it back in the market. How can we ever know he was about to get fired, right?
You name it, you got it.
And then something happened yesterday that was just so crazy. Yeah, this is a real estate story, and maybe people are like, I'm not hiring that guy. If that happened, but the truth is sometimes things just happen, and the way you handle it is what's important. I have a listing that was under contract, and as I mentioned before, it was quite a challenge to get this thing sold, and we had a very good buyer, but this buyer was also contingent on his client's previous property selling, which was a condo, which was nerve-wracking. And I said, okay, dude, it's a condo. I'm not sure. So I called not our buyer's lender, our buyer's lender. And the process was already done. They cleared the appraisal. They're clear to close. Everything was done. They even had their HOA approval.
So Chris, you did your due diligence as an agent, as the best possible way. I mean, you didn't just go to your buyer, the buyer's lender. You went to the buyer's lender.
Yeah, that's a big mistake realtors do. They don't go past. Real estate's a domino. If you think about it, if your buyer is buying, he didn't live on a tunnel. He lived somewhere, and someone is replacing him in there. And chances are someone's replacing that person, right? So it's a domino effect. And so
you went to the source.
You go to the main domino. Mm-hmm. And what happened was, even though you did all those things, that property, the first domino, was supposed to close yesterday. I get a call in the morning that it was audited, a last moment, and they found out that the condo's building that it's in was fine, but the neighboring building is not up to par. Same community. Is not up to par. They did not go through their maintenance requirements. Therefore, all condos get the axe. That happened the morning of that closing. So what happens is
That hurts. That hurts my soul.
it's hurting because you got this guy who's been through hell on this listing that I have, and two things came up that really rattled him to the core. And then I have to break that news the day before we're supposed to know for sure that he's moving up to North Carolina to visit his grandbabies and his daughter. You know what I mean?
But
But
it's such a nice house too.
oh yeah, you know which one. It is
I
a
know,
really nice house.
I know exactly which one. When you said Poly B, I'm like,
Oh, that Poly B. So, a lot of real estate agents will run from it and just send a text or an email or whatever, and because it's uncomfortable conversation you need to have. But I just laid it out to him. I said all that, and I was very clear about it. And of course, he went through the 5 stages of grief, really quickly. And everything's cool now. We're back on the market. We're ready to go. But if you got to handle things like a professional,
like a champ.
I guess that's a good segue to talk about the condo market.
Oh, disaster market right now. Oh, it's tough. But
What's happening, Jen?
Well, after Surfside, I mean, I'm not sure if anybody was following, but there's a lot of new regulations that are out there for condos, for buildings. So aside from that, they also saw new regulations on their reserves and what each condo needs to have per structural engineering, right? All of these things trickle down into what's happening today. I'm sure some of you are seeing some great prices with condos, but with those prices, these condo homeowners are facing larger special assessments and a hike in insurance, a hike in monthly fees because of these new regulations, which then go hand in hand with the lending side, which Chris touched on before. It's just, there's just so many variables when it comes to condos right now. So as agents, we have to do even more of our due diligence. We have to dig deeper when it comes to taking on these condo listings and just making sure that we're just asking every possible question every which way we can, just so that we can tackle any of these variables on the front end so that it's less of a surprise on the back end. Well, that was like the fastest way I could do it.
Well, tell the people, because they might not be aware of what Surfside is and what happened to get us to this point.
Yeah. So it's a terrible accident that happened in South Florida. A building collapsed. Many people died, unfortunately, and because of the structural integrity of the building, that's what was in question. And after, I believe, a lot of investigation, that's what came down to these regulations. The structural engineering of the building was in poor condition to the point of its collapse, and that is why we have now true regulations on the 40-year inspection, the 50-year, and so on.
Yeah. So what you were saying, what I was doing while you were talking, you probably noticed that I wasn't looking you in the camera eyes.
And I saw you.
Yeah, I'm typing because I was very curious. And I'm pulling the data up now. I wanted to see what the condos look like, what the condo market looks like at Palm Beach and Broward County. I'm just looking at Palm Beach County now. Mm-hmm. And we have more condos on the market now than the last time we were close was in 1 month in 2019. But before that, we have to go all the way back to 2013 in Palm Beach counties. But here's the surprising thing.
Hit me with some facts.
Yeah, I am. The sales are they're pretty stable.
Okay, that is promising.
So it looks like it has the same amount of buyers, but there's a lot more on the market. So the inventory is skyrocketed pretty much. So that's crazy. And the last time the condo market was this bad in Palm Beach County, it was say bad with this many listings, was 2013, 12?
Which makes us a buyer's market, guys.
Yeah,
with that many listings, for condos in Palm Beach, for those sellers out there that may potentially still think that it is the unicorn years, it is not the case at all. And specifically in the condo market in Palm Beach, there's just so much inventory out there that a buyer has options.
Many options.
Yeah.
So the way we're getting ahead of it with our team, and if you're a real estate agent listening, then I highly recommend you do the same thing.
A must.
we created a questionnaire for the condo association, and we all know how pleasurable they are to work with. We know, but we're sitting our condo questionnaire for our newest listings in there, and is asking all the important questions like, are there any current or pending assessments? If there are any, how much is owed on this particular unit that we're about to sell? And how much can you send us your budget? Things like that. You can go on. Was your have you done your maintenance, repairs, your 40-year inspection, all that stuff?
Or
When
even
was
this
last
morning,
time?
Chris, even this morning, we added one after the scenario that you just gave us. What was it?
Was there any neighboring buildings?
That have
Any buildings in your community?
in your community that did not pass or are still on the wait list. So we went through a really nice verbiage there, but it's ever changing based off of what's happening in the current market, and you just have to stay in front of it. Otherwise, you will be in that hellhole of a transaction that you just can't get across the finish line.
Well, you can't, because even if you don't get ahead of it, and then you go under contract in the traditional way that you normally know how, and then the deal gets canceled 45 days in. Then we're really screwing our clients by not doing our due diligence.
Yeah.
And they lost all that money. And not only that, us too. We're not in a business of holding property. We're like any other business. We want to put our inventory on the shelf. We want someone to buy that thing on the shelf, open up shelf space, and put something else on. Right? This is not a set and forget business, unfortunately. So yeah, it's a big deal. So I'm gonna recommend you guys creating a questionnaire. And once we get done with, if you guys are so kind, reach out to us, and I have no problem sending ours to you for the condos, because I just listed 4 condos this week, and
I know.
I was very real with all of them, explaining everything that we spoke about, and they were really appreciative of my honesty and transparency. Yeah. I can't guarantee the outcome, but I will guarantee you that I'll keep them updated and honest, and I'll bust my ass to do everything I can, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And that's what I actually really just love about the listing presentations video-wise, is that I can refer back to it at all times and say, hey, listen, remember when in the listing video, when I said XYZ, this is why I said this. We're currently seeing this happen. Let's go back real quick. Let's look at that, because I also send them the presentation via PDF as well, just so that they can, refer back to it. It's just a great piece of data that holds us accountable, and then it gives us a reference point. Like, hey, we talked about this. We sure did.
We were very clear and honest about it, and yeah, that you nailed it, because then the he say she say thing just goes out the window. You don't have to worry about it. And let's be real, when people are selling property, they're not going to remember what you said on day 1 when it's day 40.
There's like 1,000 emotions happening. They're going through so much. I don't expect them to, and that's why the video is amazing.
Yeah, see, you're such a good team player. I did pull up the Broward numbers too, and it's the same thing as Palm Beach, where we have the highest number of condos on the market, going way back into the second quarter of 2019, and then before that, it's the fourth quarter of 2015. And the difference between Broward and Palm Beach counties, I'm looking at it, it's pretty stable, but it does appear that this year all the data that I have so far in the last quarter of last year has the lowest sales going back 15 years.
Oh.
Yep. So
I'm interested to see too what the difference in association dues are as well. Just seeing the increase of these dues.
Because... You know what? You just keep on laying down these nuggets, and I'm gonna pick them up and eat them, because because what's happening with the condo market, in addition to that, because of all these maintenance requirements, these buildings a lot of them didn't have enough money in reserves to cover these new costs that they got inspected for. So now all the condo owners are being assessed with thousands of dollars. And let's be real, when people didn't... Go ahead.
Hold on, Chris. And just so people that don't know what assess is it's an additional fee on top of their monthly dues, right? You have your monthly or quarterly, annually, depending on how your association divvies that up. But on top of that you already agreed upon, you have a new fee that is called a special assessment for an allotted amount of time for a allotted specific project. Yeah,
and this is what's happening. Let's be candid about it. Most people move into a condos because they're affordable. They're the cheapest option. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're jacking up their payment per month, $500-$600. That's a big deal for these people, and it should be. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. I mean, when you think about it, some of these, some people retire, they sell their house or whatever it is, they go retire. Some people buy it cash, and now they have like a $500 payment of association dues. Well, that $500 might jacked up to 1,000 in some of these communities.
In the spirit, most of them are older people, and
Mm-hmm.
they have their drug cost, and
Yeah.
then now they're looking at these, and they're looking at
When
these
you
things
said
like,
drug cost, it just sounded like they
oh,
had issues.
oh,
They have medications,
like
Chris.
they're they're slapping their forearm, you know. Oh, like Dave Chappelle reaching his head over, like I can't say it here. It's
No, no.
inappropriate.
Chappelle's show may not be appropriate
Yeah,
in
even
this
even for
moment.
us, even for us. But now they're making real life decisions if they're able to sustain this, and they
Yeah.
can't. The listing that I was literally putting up just before Jen and I came on, that was their scenario. I don't want to get too much details, right, because it's kind of personal, but they couldn't afford it for that reason. But so what does that mean? That means now all these people who can't afford it are trying to sell it, but no one can buy it with a mortgage, right? These units.
Mm-hmm.
So then they're looking for cash buyers, and cash buyers, when they see blood in the water,
Oh, yes.
oh boy,
I mean, we
I
know
have
cash.
cash.
We know cash is king. Okay, we know cash is
Yeah, we
king in a
get
lot of
it.
scenarios. But Mr. Seller, when we have a cash buyer, typically they're not going to give you that beautiful list price that you have, that we work so hard to be at that fair market value. They're going to go for blood.
Yeah,
It's a little
yeah.
dramatic, but you get what I'm saying here.
Yeah, something needs to give here. So, I'm hoping after this election cycle and we get over the culture wars and all that nonsense that we have in Florida, and then whoever is in power can really just get to work serving the Floridian people. I was gonna say the American people, but that's not too political.
Mm.
The Floridians, and really
Well,
look
yeah,
at,
localize it. Let's localize it. Florida,
yeah,
yeah. All
what it
right.
is. That's it's a Florida problem, because we're not only getting that, they're getting hit with insurance premiums too,
Oh, God,
which is
yes.
another subject, and it's a triple whammy. So I would really, there's something has to happen where there has to be some kind of allocation of cost, or something that goes into helping condo communities fix these costs. Maybe if the
Mm-hmm.
government runs a program and they get a bulk rate for a bunch of contractors, they get a lot of contractors into work for a couple years, and the contractors happy because they don't have to go find work, and then
Yeah.
they'll work at a discount for that, and the government can open up some of their tax funds and go towards those things. Or maybe the government can start taxing the wealthy their fair share, and then pass
Mm.
that wealth on to the condo owners, so they're not forced to choose between insulin and
And
food.
food, yeah, food or mortgage or HOA dues. It's
Yep.
it's a sad cycle that we're in right now, especially just overall the affordability aspect of everything that we have here. I know for a long time, my stepfather actually he told me this saying. He's like, I have a lot of friends that keep saying that South Florida is going to become the mini Manhattan. And at one point, I'm like, nah, we're far away from that. But we really weren't. When he told me
Yeah.
that, he told me that, what, 2 years ago? And I really feel like we are progressively working our way towards that. I mean, the Miami prices are sky high in everything, not just real estate, everything. Same thing goes with things down here in Broward and Palm Beach. So I'm hoping that once we go through this cycle, that we can really get to the meat of the issues here in South Florida, and affordability across the board is the
Yeah.
number one.
And for you realtors out there and you're down in Florida, I hear a lot of stressing out there. But what I said on the team meeting today, it also will convey well here, is that I've lived within my business through so many like things like this, like challenges. But
Yeah.
challenges are opportunities, because challenges means, if we go back to what we're talking about, solving problems, a challenge is a problem. And if we can now go out of our way to solve unique problems for these condo owners, um, and we don't know exactly what that looks like now,
Mm-hmm.
then what it does is just elevates you as a real estate agent. So when the market does go on a swing up, all those people that you helped and created unique solutions for are not going to forget you.
Yeah.
And your business just scales. Your business always scales by the challenges, problems that you can solve for people, providing solutions for those people, and then for the selfish reason on the flip side, if you're doing it for selfish reasons, your business grows.
Your business flourishing, right? It's not selfish. I mean, you got to feed yourself and your family. I mean, we're in this business of service, sure, but we also are in the business of growing ourselves and our business. So
I'd much rather have a pina colada at the beach because I'm pale and I'm thirsty, but we're at work because we have babies to feed. And you're right, so we got to grow our businesses.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. People appreciate us 100%. I don't say that. I don't say that with any fluff. People really do appreciate what we do because we do it. It comes from a good heart. You know, it comes from a good place. We do it with them in the forefront of what we do, and we just really love what we freaking do.
You know what I appreciate, Jennifer Konikoff?
Tell me, Chris.
You, because you are an awesome teammate and a co-host. So with that, I am going to wrap this up because we both have to go. I keep looking at the time in my phone, and you are doing the same.
I know. I'm like 3:45. I can make it to pickup.
we can go. We got to go. We got things to do. All right. So if you guys want to dive in, if you're real estate agents and learn some of the cool things we spoke about, go to coachingbykuzi.com. You can try it out for a week. It's just cool. And if not, that's fine too. And if you, the way these podcasts work, if you listen to podcasts is if you subscribe or follow or hit some kind of ribbon or something, it kind of moves us up in the charts and more people will find us. So if you enjoy this, other people will enjoy it as well. And we'll appreciate the love. So Jennifer, say bye to the peeps.
Peeps, thanks for listening and enjoying our wonderful conversation. My name is Jen Konikoff, and thank you for listening.
All right. And I'm Chris Cusimano. And next week, we'll be back with Alex. All right, guys. You guys have a wonderful day and see you all later. Bye, Jen.
Hasta laters. Bye.
Hasta laters. Bye.